riding down the high weirdness road, chasing every story nobody's told. Muppets in the backseat, vampires in tow. J.J. Vance on the high weirdness road. Cold case counties and abandoned towns. Something in the shadows keeps swirling round. CIA bots shouting, "Who killed Bill Cosby?" JJ just laughs and cranks the sound. Where the timeline's bend and the truth gets loud, and the moon looks wrong behind a wandering cloud. If the vampire strike, well, that's just how it goes. He's riding down the high weirdness road, where impossible things are the stories he's old. From hidden colors on a foggy night to the America's wasteland, heartland. J.J. Vance on the high weirdness road. He's rolling down the high weirdness road, chasing every phantom the archives hold. Truth gets strange, but he won't let go. J.J. Vance on the high weirdness road. Yeah, J.J. Vance on the high weirdness road. Hits the flat top, midnight sky. J.J. Vance got questions he can't deny. Used to have an RV full of case file stack, map full of mysteries, thumbtack. Hear the hum of the tires, feel the pull of the strings. Where the lights in the woods get real deranged. Open your brain holes, where the truth explodes, and hunker on down for a trip on the GCD high weirdness road. He's riding down the high weirdness road, chasing every story nobody's told. Muppets in the backseat, vampires in tow. J.J. Vance on the high weirdness road. Cold case counties and abandoned towns. Something in the shadows keeps swirling round. CIA bots shouting, "Who killed Bill Cosby?" JJ just laughs and cranks the sound. Where the timeline's bend and the truth gets loud, and the moon looks wrong behind a wandering cloud. If the vampire strike, well, that's just how it goes. He's riding down the high weirdness road, where impossible things are the stories he's old. From hidden colors on a foggy night to the America's wasteland.
They have a copper-rich blood. Yes, testing has been done. The first time testing was done in the 70s by the DuPont Corporation. My father did not trust John DuPont and got the specimens back. When he got them back, my father, I heard him talking on the phone, and he said, they do not have iron in their blood, they have copper.
Howdy, folks. Your host, Double J, back here, coming at you live from the middle of Satan's butthole, apparently, with about 115 degrees here today. Anyhow, apologize for the delays, a little technical difficulties. Apparently, my Starlink gremlins don't appear to like to work in the Satan butthole temperatures of 115 degrees. Anyhow, we're not here to talk about Bigfoot psyops. We're here to talk about a different psyop. But anyhow, welcome back here, folks of the interwebs. Your host of Operation GCD here. I don't know if y'all knew that, but Bigfoot's got copper blood. That's apparently a fact. Your host of Operation GCD here, JJ Vance, not the vice president, part-time vampire hunter, not to be confused with Bigfoot hunters. Anyhow, I'm not associated with the ilk. Anyhow, welcome back here, folks, to the interwebs. I will be your pilot and navigator for tonight's shenanigan-infused journey into the mind here of this particular garbage can dude. See a lot of burger and food talk here. I'm getting hungry just catching up on the chat here. Anyhow, welcome. I will be your pilot and navigator for tonight's anatomy of the Satanic Panic. So buckle up for that one. That's if you're not familiar with what all that's about. It's not a Bigfoot psyop. It's the Satanic psyop around the actual Satanic to divert from the actual Satanic business that has infiltrated America and the Western world, quite honestly, the Western world at large.
So what did these perpetrators do?
Perpetrators, they were hippie assholes. And two of them burst through the front door there, and the guy hippie said he was the devil, and he said, I'm here to do some devil shit. That's not verbatim, but...
Some devil shit.
Yeah, devil shit.
That's right, some devil shit. We're going to look at some of those known knowns, folks of the interwebs, of devil worshippers and satanic crimes. Looking at some of the known knowns we've identified here in the series here, The Anatomy of the Satanic Panic. And we're going to look at it compared to a book I discovered on my journey of how I got here. Well, I'm not sure where here is, in fact, because, again, it's... Lord of mercy, it's hot. Anyhow, Bigfoot's real, huh? Well, Bigfoot may indeed be real. I know a fellow up there in Glacier National Park in good old Montana. He'll serve you a burger with the shirt off in his diner. That's weird, but he's got his own Bigfoot channel, apparently. Bigfoot hunters. So, but we're gonna look at some of these known knowns and a book I discovered long my journeys here to get here to my current state of affairs and hosting this tonight's conversation on the anatomy of the Satanic Panic. But Raising Hell, I believe this was published in 1990 by author Michael Newton. Ooh, disregard. 1993. That's right. It's I look at it in many respects now as a counterpoint to the Landing Report. You know, that Muppet report from those Muppets at Quantico in 1992 that said basically continued to perpetrate the same narrative as old Muppet Mikey Aquino. These are not the Nazi Satanists you're looking for. You know, these are not the Muppets you're looking for. But that was what the Landing Report established, saying, oh, we looked at all these reports from the Quantico Muppets, the Behavioral Analyst Unit, who immediately thereafter Muppet forces with those psychiatrists from the CIA, and we see them already impacting the first satanic crime immediately following these events in 1992, 1993, the Landing Report 92, this book in 93, and then as we covered last week, folks, one of the first major satanic crimes of that new phase of the panic. Getting kind of panicked here, just talking about it. But we see that was the West Memphis Three. And we see that those psychiatrists that had teamed up with the Muppets at Quantico and the landing report, Kenneth Landing. We see them on the defense team for the Satanic Kid Diddlin murderers there in the West Memphis 3. So I do think that in large part that landing report served as a blanket statement of there's no, these are not the Nazi Satanists you're looking for. There is no satanic murders happening in your backyard. There is no satanic ritual abuse. That is what the landing report was used for, especially when he started teaming up with those psychiatrists of the False Memories Syndrome Foundations. So it is interesting to see how these kind of narratives are spun in some of these known knowns, you know, looking back on a lot of these matters as a with a different lens, so to speak, because we see there is a panic, there's an intentional panic. And I do think that incidents such as one mentioned here in this book that was very central to my teenage years in the city of Cincinnati, the headquarters of Procter & Gamble's there, Procter plus Gamble's, which at the time was the largest consumer-based product company in the world. I think they've sold off a number of their brands today, but they went under they were victims of a panic where everyone said they were devil worshipers and this logo was a big devil worshiping logo, and there was this kind of folklore or a urban legend that they changed it to just the P&G as a result of it. They changed their logo as a result of this. So, you know, I think there was some intentional panics in that regard, which we've kind of gone over here. Folks of the interwebs who joined me here in the past, kind of gone over those matters of the intentional use of the panic to distract from the actual crimes. And I think this book does a good job of kind of explaining some of those circumstances while also pointing out, again, an encyclopedia of devil worship and satanic crime. So we're definitely going to be looking at some of the known knowns around here in regards to this. And, you know, classic, if you're looking at psychopathic behavior, folks of the interwebs, I think it's important to get your brain hole into the brain hole of a psychopath.
As we know, there are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't.
It would take a psychopath like Donald Rumsfeld to come up with that philosophy. Anyhow, we are going to look at some of those known knowns here in regards to this crime, because it is crime. I think that's one of the fundamental aspects. Looking back and reading this book again, thinking about where my brain hole was the first time I read it versus where it's at now, and understanding that these cults, they operate on drug, sex, and rock and roll. That's how they, in large part, finance their cult activities, it seems. Meaning sex trafficking, prostitutions, drug trafficking, gun trafficking, right? All this kind of business. And we do see that in elements not only mentioned in this book, but other satanic elements that I've covered here in the past, such as the smiley face killings. Specifically, an instance out of one of the suburbs of Pennsylvania, Tommy Booth, I believe it was April of 2008. But, you know, he had told folks, including his U.S. Army Colonel uncle. His uncle was a U.S. Army Colonel, by the way. They interviewed him in that Smiley Face Killers TV show on Oxygen Network where they covered this case. It was also in the original book by those detectives back in circa 2013 there. Drowning Forensics Studies. But yeah, he clearly told a number before he was victimized by what appears to be a neo-satanic cult and the crimes associated with them. They were involved. He told numerous folks that he'd gotten involved with the wrong group of folks. They were doing guns. They were doing drugs. They're dealing in all sorts of hood rat shit. Hood rat shit. Very technical term. But here was his boss describing that in the show.
Tommy had conversations with me about them getting deeper and deeper into doing things like guns and drugs.
Okay. So
that was conversations we absolutely had.
Okay.
Okay. You know, it's certainly common for guys to have nefarious friends and not necessarily to go in as deep as their friends are going.
Was Tommy making money off the drugs and guns?
I don't think so at all. I get people to ask me on a regular basis, has anything been found out? Has anything been solved? But nobody believes it was an accident. Nobody. He couldn't have stumbled in and drowned. It's just not possible.
So numerous parties in young Tommy Booth's life had that same tale. He had told them, got involved with the wrong group of folks, and he feared for his life. So I do think that is one relevant aspect to understand is the economical foundations of these cults and the logistics behind how they operate, where they're largely producing some revenue through, doing hood rat shit. It is. I feel like sometimes we live in a Muppet world full of theater kids running shit. Folks like Justin Trudeau, Castro's son kind of comes to mind in that regard. Not exclusive to Canada, a lot of American Muppets in the same capacity. Speaking of that, you often wonder how a lot of these things continue in our society. Well, we do live in a Muppet world, For example, today, happy Back That Ass Up Day in the city of New Orleans. It's official. I think, the mayor of New Orleans established in this is actually the third celebration of it. It was actually established on June 11th, 2024 by the mayor of New Orleans, because we live in a world run by Muppets. Mayor LaToya Cantrell clearly is a Muppet, dude. Obviously a Muppet. So, there is an aspect of how do these things get perpetrated? Well, we live in a society run by Muppets. So, who's stopping any of this stuff? It ain't the Muppets. They're either engaging in it or establishing Back That Ass Up days, dude. But we do see the Procter & Gamble folks were targeted in the 90s, around the same time as this book was written, around the same time as the Lanning Report. This is in the aftermath of McMartin. This is in the aftermath of the all of the satanic ritual abuse scandals we see through the Presidio and other U.S. Army and U.S. military abuse scandals of the 90s there. We see, I think we see a distraction given the timeline. It's a chronology of events, folks of the interwebs, that I find somewhat important. And when we see in the early 90s that, Satanic Panic is now turned into Procter & Gamble's logo, I do think around a bullshit story that was established in a very urban legend type manner. But it's, as cited in this book, Procter & Gamble had to change their logo.
It is one of this nation's best-known and respected companies, and it produces some of the most familiar items in American commerce: toothpaste, soap, detergents. But ridiculous as it may seem, now, again, there are people who insist this company supports something called the Church of Satan.
In 1991, people across America watched the president of Procter & Gamble make a stunning announcement on the Phil Donahue Show. He was a Satanist and proud of it. He admitted to the horrified studio audience that a large portion of P&G's profits were donated to the Church of Satan. The decision to announce this so publicly plagued the company for years, as Christian-led boycotts of Procter & Gamble spread. Only, none of it happened. The interview was never filmed, it never aired, it never happened at all. But that hardly mattered. Satanic Panic had swirled around Procter & Gamble for years. Nobody knows exactly where it started, but...
that was an impact of this, and I think it also served as a great distraction. Because we'll see the media just ignores these things, just like the FBI Muppets do. That's one of the things in looking back here. Again, this is I look at this book kind of as the counterpoint to the Lanning Report. When criminal charges, this is the introduction, talking about laying the framework for the book, right? When criminal charges are filed, they invariably result in dismissal or acquittal of the accused. As FBI cult expert Ken Lanning declares, there's not a shred of evidence. There are no bodies. These are not the Satanists you're looking for. There are no bodies, and there's not one conviction. All right, get back here. Fact, it says, while some cult apologists may be forgiven for their ignorance of current events, Agent Lanning, if you want to call him that, Muppet Lanning, with access to nationwide police files, should know better. As this volume amply demonstrates, this book, cult-related killers stand convicted of murder in 23 states in at least 9 foreign countries. Again, this is, The satanic panic largely is focused out in and around America, stay dangerous America, but it obviously does impact the Western world at large. Numerous other occultists are now serving time for practicing their faith through acts of arson, rape, assault, cruelty to animals, and similar crimes. Hood rat shit. Courts in 7 American states and in Canada, not a real place, at least not in my opinion. It's kind of a Muppetville up there. Have sustained charges of ritual child abuse in the years since 1984. But according to the Lanning report, according to those Muppets of the FBI, there are no Satanists, dude. There's no organized network of Satanists. That's what they claim, right? So I think that's a fascinating takeaway from this book, as well as the framework of what this book's offering here. So actually, before we get to that point, in regards to how these matters are perpetrated, it is that aspect of faith that I think is largely utilized, as a distraction in itself, but as an excuse for other unknowing parties, right? Unwitting folks in media, if you will. I don't think everyone's in the know, so to speak, but I think this is a very reasonable explanation for how some of these things get moved. The elements of Satanism get removed from the headlines, removed from the court record, removed from the prosecution, removed. We don't get the high profile, satanic trials of Richard Ramirez, right? Right. In fact, we've covered this one before out of Northern Kentucky, just near Cincinnati, from October of 2024. This lady she was a porn actress in Hollywood and B-rated film actress, apparently. She came back to Kentucky, murdered her mother, murked her in the kitchen, cooked her up for casting demonic spells and shit, dude. They removed her from the headline, right? This fella out of Milford, Ohio, there in Cincinnati, was involved in a network of child trafficking and child pornography as young as the age of 1. And he was filming it in his apartment, in his associate's apartment in Lockland, Ohio. Beautiful town, beautiful northern suburb of Cincinnati, Lockland, the village of Lockland. Home of about 3,500 people until the Biden administration moved about 3,500 Africans in there. So just saying, kind of disrupted what I'm saying is, in doing something like that, you can apparently traffic children behind the scenes. And these weren't African children. These were white children, in fact, local children. I'm just saying they weren't bringing them into the area to traffic them in this satanic network. I'm just saying, when you have so many people and so many other things going on in an area, politically speaking, it seems you can get away with doing Satan shit in the background, because that's what seemingly was going around here. Well, everyone's too busy of illegal aliens, so to speak, there in that town. Meanwhile, there's a active satanic cult that then got swept away, because removed from the headlines was the satanic altar that was present when they were filming these rapes of these children in this dude's apartment in Milford, Ohio. So that happened. And that book kind of offers an explanation of that. Oh, that's where I was going with that. I need to go visit my local science store. I forgot where I was going with that for a second. So it says, if recognized occultists do commit criminal acts, the police, the press, and public should ignore their defendants' religious beliefs, as they would if a Catholic or Presbyterian were charged with robbery. As Virginia criminologist, not the name of the criminologist, a criminologist from Virginia, Robert Hicks demands, law enforcement investigators must remove the cult from cult crime and do their jobs accordingly. Fact, it says, motives are always critical to the investigation of unsolved cases, prosecution of defendants, and prevention of future crimes. So shouldn't be a revelation anyone investigating a crime, but it seems to be, right? A felon's personal beliefs may be irrelevant depending on the case, not so if his religion dictates or encourages the commission of crime. Whereas vandalism, sexual abuse, and homicide, that's murdering folks, become integral parts of cult ritual, Those rituals are clearly part of the problem. Police can no more divorce the cult from cult-related crimes than they can drop the sex from sexual assault or overlook the race in acts of racial violence. So I do think there is a certain aspect to being able to remove these matters from the headlines, despite it being, this lady ate her mother, dude. You know what I mean? But there, my back, there we go. We'll cut out for a second. Yeah, well, that's a good point. The minute CP is attached, it's blackout in all news. So there's a certain element to that. There's probably a certain element of a human burger element, because again, that lady ate her mother, dude. So you'll have that. Hate it. That's cogent advice there, Uncle Ted. Hate all assholes equally, huh? We're Satanists or folks that eat their fucking mother, dude. What are you talking about, So I do think this book is an interesting thing to look back on as well in regards to just how they framed this encyclopedia of, devil shit, devil worship, and satanic crime. This volume is designed to separate fact from fiction where the occult satanic underground is concerned. The work in hand is not a new age catalog or survey of the supernatural. Lord of mercy, I hope not. Objective readers need not believe in a literal Satan, nor voodoo's Baron Samedi, get a new name, dude, or the Afro-Caribbean Orishas, get a new name, to realize that others believe in them fervently, calling upon them for guidance and help in their daily affairs. I think that's important to realize. Again, it is a faith, right? I think that concept, not only is the concept of these folks do hood rat shit in which to finance their organizations in an organized crime fashion with a satanic element to it all, there's also the fact that satanic element is their faith. I think that's one of the known knowns, so to speak, that I've would say is an important takeaway from looking back at this book. Some rape and kill in that pursuit. That's a true story. Convinced they are acting in accordance with the wishes of their chosen deities. Thus, while the entries of the text include descriptions of some major cults, get back here. There's a Boyd Rice element to all that. Boom, look at that. Not shocking to find him involved in all sorts of all things Satan. Trent Reznor's mentor, Tracy Twyman's mentor. The guy's got a very diverse catalog. He's friends with he's bandmates with the Zizian death cult attorney. These Muppets all know each other, and we'll look at that known of these Muppets all know each other, and some other known knowns here tonight. But I do thank you folks of the interwebs for joining me here tonight. We'll be taking the rest of this conversation over to Patreon here shortly. Thus, while the entries of this text include descriptions of some major cults, their leaders, historical background, and general information on occult religions, the major emphasis remains on crimes. I do agree. Should be these folks are fucking criminals. That one lady ate her fucking mother, dude. Recorded from around the world with one exception noted in the text. No pseudonyms are used, no facts deleted or revised. It is unnecessary to embellish the reports of the cult-related crime. The truth is, in fact, grim enough, and I could not agree more. That's a known. It's some grim shit. Where am I at here? What happened? Darth Zith attorney. Yep. He's bandmates with Boyd Rice. These Muppets all know each other. The Silicon Valley-based AI-focused rationalist transpocalypse death cult, the Zizians. They didn't go nowhere, but their attorney, yeah, dude, he's definitely got a lot of process connections. But did she get the powers like Highlander, dude? I don't think so. You can ride her in prison if you're looking for a prison wife, sir. Anyway, hold that thought here 1 second.
Because I went to this gay pride parade, and I saw in it there were these old men and old ladies with these signs that said, "We are proud of our gay son," And so I was saying, that's an odd thing to be proud of, because it's not an achievement, It's not like something you work all your life to be gay or anything like that. And I just wondered, I had a hard time believing that these 50, 60-year-old men are actually bragging, you know, at work, like they're, hey, Bill, you know, my kid, oh my God, we're proud of him, Johnny. He graduated from Harvard, you know, first in his class, you know what I mean? Now he's articling over at a law firm, and, oh yeah, he loves cock. You know? This kid. He can't get enough cock in his mouth, his ass, this kid's always cock. I got a picture of the boy here sucking another man's cock. I want to show it to you.
Stay dangerous, America. Yeah, bring back the real comedians, that's for sure. Shit they produced today, not funny. Joe Rogan and his friends, not really a fan. Never really been a big fan of his comedies or much of anything else of the Jeffrey Epstein experience. But anyhow, we're here talking about the anatomy of the satanic panic here tonight, folks, at the interwebs. Do thank you all for joining me here tonight to get a little GCD. It is Pride Month. Be proud of Norm. That's right. Be proud of him. He was a good comedian. Anyhow, so we'll, folks at the interwebs, we'll catch you next time, folks, on the Patreon side. See you over there momentarily. And, you know, in between, watch out for lasers, folks.
There's thousands of Americans out there. By the way, I've been shot with a laser beam twice.
Ted's down, folks. They got him twice.
Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Out in the holler where the secrets creep, garbage can dudes digging mighty deep. Secret societies, shadows in the pines. Operation GCD of American rebels design. Double J searching deep in his brain hole, past layers of melted hops and bone resin. From cults to cover-ups, we're talking about all of that. So watch your sixth friend in the truth we trust. The world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Join us on the journey and enjoy the show. Thanks for joining us to get a little GCD. Yeah, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beam. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Hell, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Out in the holler where the secrets creep, garbage can dudes digging mighty deep. Secret societies, shadows in the pines. Operation GCD of American rebels design. Double J searching deep in his brain hole, past layers of melted hops and bone resin. From cults to cover-ups, we're talking about all of that. friend and the truth we trust. The world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. OpGCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Join us on the journey and enjoy the show. Thanks for joining us to get a little GC. Any world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo coats haunt the moon's pale beam. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Hell, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze.
Boom!